Good morning. Thank you for all of those who braved the streets this morning as beta breakers stretched across our city. I will tell you that I had quite the view of going all the way around the bay from Alameda all the way up into San Quentin and across the Golden Gate. It was a gorgeous day, no traffic. Beautiful, beautiful scenery though. I'm Laura Shennum. I'm Minister of Congregational Life here at First Unitarian Universalist Society of San Francisco. I'm joined on the chancel by my partner in ministry, our intern minister, Mark Caswell, and our talented worship associate, Daniel Jackaway. We are supported this morning by so many people, by Eric and Jonathan, who are manning our sound and online presence and cameras and all of that, by our director of music, Mark Sumner, who's playing on the piano and helping us sing today, by our guest musician, Alyssa Rose. Thank you so much for your beautiful music, by our sextons, by our staff, by all of those who make our spaces beautiful and welcoming each and every Sunday. We are so grateful for them and how they show up for us. I will say that if there's any children today, which I don't see any, but if any children come in, we're all in the sanctuary today because I let our religious education staff be off so they didn't have to brave trying to get in here. And so if children are welcome to stay in the worship service with us today. If you're new or joining us, then again, welcome. I hope you were able to grab an order of service on your way in. It has all the tips and tricks that you need to know through our worship service. If you're online, in the description of the service is the link to the order of service. If you have questions that aren't answered in the back of the order of service or within the order of service, feel free to talk to somebody who has an official name tag. They can answer those questions or refer you to somebody that can. We also have somebody online monitoring the chat, so feel free to pop any questions in there. We have many ways to try to accommodate people in our space. If you would like a hearing-assisted device, our ushers can help you find one. If you would like a mask-only section, it's right over there on my left side, your right. If you have a furry friend, it's over here on my right side, your left. If you need something to keep your hands busy, we have a busy hands section in the back where you can grab something to keep your hands busy. And if there's any other way that we can help make you feel welcome and accommodated in this space, please let us know. I do want to let you know that there will be a couple times during the sermon where you will be asked to turn and talk to each other. If you don't want to participate, that is perfectly fine. You can just sit and contemplate whatever question I pose to you. If you're online, then you can type in the chat and discuss in the chat the question. This quote from Gilda Radner prompted the title for today's sermon. She shares, "I wanted a perfect ending. Now I've learned the hard way that some poems don't rhyme and some stories don't have a clear beginning, middle, or end. Life is about not knowing, having to change, taking the moment and making the best of it without knowing what's going to happen next. Delicious ambiguity." So in the spirit of delicious ambiguity, I invite you to bring the fullness of your heart to this time of gathering. May we be curious in this time we spend together and allow it to re-energize us for the week ahead and what it calls us to do. Let us enter into a time of worship, a time set aside to honor the worth of this community and the faith and how they impact our lives. Welcome.
We'll now light our chalice, the symbol of Unitarian Universalism, and the symbol that marks this time as sacred. If you'll say the words that are printed in your order of service with me. We light this chalice for the light of truth, the warmth of love, and the fire of commitment. We light this symbol of our faith as we gather together.
Please rise in body or spirit for our opening hymn, number 324 in the gray hymnal, Where My Free Spirit Onward Leads. And remember afterwards to stay standing so we can greet one another, okay?
Where my free spirit onward leads, well, there shall be my way. By my own light illumined, I've journeyed night and day. My age a time-worn cloak I wear, as once I wore my youth. I celebrate life's mystery, I celebrate death's truth. My family is nor confined, and mother, mate, and child, but it includes all creatures, be they tame or be they wild. My family upon this earth includes all living things, on land or in the ocean deep, or borne aloft on wings. The ever-spinning universe, well, there shall be my home. I sing and spin with creatures as through this life I roam. Eternity is hard to ken, and harder still is this. A human life, when truly seen, is briefer than a kiss.
I invite you to turn to one another and welcome each other into the space. If you're online, drop some welcome in the chat. All right, let's come back together. I do promise you get a couple times during the sermon to talk, so just hold on to that nugget. Our story this morning is called The Mystic and the Scientist. One day, a religious man approached a mystic and asked, "Does God exist?" "Allow me to go within for the answer," the mystic replied. After meditating for quite some time, expanding her heart consciousness to embrace the totality of existence, she answered, "I do not know what you mean by the word God, but I do know that this world is more mysterious and more wonderful than I could ever imagine. I know that you and I are part of something so much larger than our own lives. Perhaps this something larger is what you seek." Then the religious man approached a scientist. "Does God exist?" he asked. "Let me think," said the scientist. And so she thought. She thought about the vastness of the universe, 156 billion light years, or something like 936 billion trillion miles in diameter, and the almost immeasurable smallness of a quark. She thought of how the energy of the Big Bang fuels the beating of her own heart. And then she answered, "I do not know what you mean by the word God, but I do know that this world is more mysterious and more wonderful than I could ever imagine. I know that you and I are part of something so much larger than our lives. Perhaps this something larger is what you seek." The religious man thought to himself, he thought of what he knows and what he does not know. He thought about how he knows what he knows and how he knows he doesn't know what he doesn't know. He thought about his experience of the world and how it is but one tiny infinitesimal fraction of all experience. He thought about his dependence on forces larger than himself, and he thought about the interdependence of all existence. He experienced wonder and pondered mystery, and then he knew. He knew in his soul the truth of what the mystic and the scientist said, that he is part of something so much larger than his own life. And then, only then, did he think about what he'd call it. And that is our story.
Now please rise in body or spirit for our covenant and sung doxology. The words are in the order of service. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its prayer. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in freedom, and to help one another. I have been working in software for over half my life, and I feel extremely grateful that in my teens, I discovered something that I both find interesting and has developed into a great career. But lately, it really has felt unstable. After decades of technology companies disrupting other industries, hotels with Airbnb, bank tellers with online banking apps, and so on, we are now disrupting software itself with artificial intelligence. At first, I was a skeptic. But with the advances of the past few months, it has become clear that AIs can generate certain kinds of software code mostly reliably and far, far faster than any human could. The result is an industry full of anxiety. Every tech CEO is worried that a company using AI better or faster than them will make even formerly stable businesses irrelevant. Many leaders are explicitly pushing that anxiety down to their workers. I have a friend who recently got a new software engineering job. She joined an objectively boring company, founded 20 years ago, has thousands of employees, and she went out of her way to join a company that was not force-feeding their employees AI. Until her second week, when they called a big meeting, the same meeting that's happening everywhere. AI is the future. We all need to learn how to use it. It is now your job to use these systems more. You must learn how to be more productive with AI in a few months or else. When I asked why she was avoiding AI so fiercely, one concern was just that her leaders expected more of a speed up in her overall job than what these AI systems could actually deliver. But it was also about the experience of the job. I mentioned that I had seen a lot of my colleagues who were newer to the company learn much faster all of the company-specific details that take you a few months to really settle in at a new job, thanks to having these always-on AIs to answer their questions. And she said that she likes getting to know her colleagues by asking them questions, and once she's been around a little bit longer, answering them. And that sums up another layer of the anxiety that software engineers and many others are feeling. It's not just, will I have a job in a few years? It's, how much worse might that job be? Software engineering has always been a mix of functional and creative. Increasingly, the AIs get to do the creation, and we humans do quality assurance and supervision. And we really don't know where this is headed. 2 years ago, AI was borderline useless, and now there are people claiming to be 100 times more productive writing code with it. To be honest, I am scared. Software jobs have been a great fit for me, and the whole system that has shaped my job is being upended and rethought in record time. Everything is changing so fast that it's very hard to tell where the company I work at or any company I might choose to join will stand in a few years. It feels like nowhere is safe from layoffs or from radical changes to the job that we are expected to do. Even the companies that are making and selling AI systems are having their fortunes rise and fall in the matter of months. So far, my approach has been to find the value in AI systems where I can and not panic. For now, the core job skills that have made me successful are still valued. I easily slip into worrying that change will be bad, and I'm definitely not alone. But I'm trying to remind myself that there's no benefit in being upset during the relative calm before this potential storm. As Seneca said, he suffers more than necessary who suffers before it is necessary.
Our offering this morning is for the Minister's Discretionary Fund. This is a fund that Vanessa and I offer aid to many in our community. We have offered aid to someone that recently moved into a new place. We've offered aid to help pay bills and keep people in their house. We've offered aid to memorial services and even gave a grant to one of our synagogues that in the South was subjected to arson. So this is a fund that we use to help extend our community to each other and beyond. And our offering will now be received and gratefully offered and gratefully received.
Our reading today comes from Eve Ensler. Real security is a process. Why are we suddenly a nation and a people who strive for security above all else? In fact, security is essentially elusive, impossible. We all die, we all get sick, we all get old. People leave us, people surprise us, people change us. Nothing is secure. And this is the good news. But only if you're not seeking security as the point of your life. Here's what happens when security becomes the center of your life. You can't travel very far or venture too far outside a certain circle. You can't allow too many conflicting ideas into your mind at one time, as they might confuse you or challenge you. You can't open yourself up to new experiences, new people, and new ways of doing things. They might take you off course. You cling desperately to your identity. Of course, now you can no longer feel what another person feels, because that might shatter your heart, confuse your basic thinking, destroy the whole structure. Ideas get shorter, they become sound bites. They are evildoers and saviors, criminals and victims. Those who are not with us are against us. It gets easier to hurt people because you don't feel what's inside of them. But all of this offers only a false sense of security. Real security means contemplating death, not pretending it doesn't exist. It means not running from loss, but feeling it, surrendering to sorrow, entering grief. Real security is not knowing something when you don't know it. Real security cannot be bought or arranged or accomplished with bombs. It is deeper. It is a process. It is the acute awareness that we are all utterly interdependent and that one action by one being in one town has consequences everywhere else. Real security is the ability to tolerate mystery, complexity, and ambiguity. Indeed, hungering for these things. Now, if you'll join me as we enter into a deeper moment of prayer and meditation, you may want to take a deep breath, close your eyes or soften your gaze, settle into your seat, noticing that you are held in this moment by the pews, the floor below it, and the earth which holds us all. Spirit of life and love, God of many names and beyond all naming, both distant and imminent, draw us deeper into your divine embrace that we may experience transformation together in this moment. Gather the longing and distance we feel in the solitude of our lives, the hidden parts of our smiles and well wishes. Perhaps a step that was easy to take yesterday may suddenly be difficult as our abilities shift and change. The struggle of wrestling with an unjust world, the hope that we can drag it into an equitable dreaming, only to find that our freedom has been limited by someone else's striving for comfort, security, or a frictionless world. A loss that goes beyond naming, grief that lingers and calls for our attention. The side effect of a new medication, a new pain or ache that swells and calls for our attention. Let us gather our difficulties and struggles and welcome them into this moment. Thank them for their presence, their honesty and truth-telling, knowing each of us struggles to embrace impermanence, as if our feet were rooted in the soil while the ground itself shifts and shakes beneath us. Let us welcome change as we welcome our next breath. As we sink into the unfolding river that is this present moment, awaken our hearts and minds and bodies to the joy we carry with us, stored in our body and revealed among us. The rustle of paper, the curiosity in children's squealing laughter, the song of birds chirping that drifts in from the courtyard just beyond these walls, the sunshine that is embedded in our food, transformed into life-sustaining calories, nourishing our bodies and spirits. Gather the joy we carry with us, and let the joy we carry mix together with our struggles. Let this elixir of human experience be a draught for each of us to drink. May we hold loosely the shift in ourselves as the distance between our solitude and our neighbor is shrinking. As we gather as a community, knowing that we are part of something larger than ourselves, a force for change and connection. We will now enter into a time of silence, a container that will hold together the distance between the words and thoughts, a holy silence to share all of our joys and sorrows. And if you have recently lost a loved one or someone is weighing greatly on your heart this morning, I invite you to stand or place your hand over your heart. And in this being vulnerable, bearing silent witness, know that your grief is shared, and while we cannot erase it, we will carry it with you. Blessed be. Amen.
Thank you once again for your music. I have a confession to make. A month ago, when I was contemplating this title of Delicious Ambiguity, I was playing with the idea of not giving you an order of service. But as I got into this week and I started contemplating that, I needed the security of the order of service. Real security is the ability to tolerate mystery, complexity, ambiguity, indeed, hungering for these things, as Eve Ensler reminds us in our reading, or in the delicious ambiguity of life, as Gilda Radner proclaims. Rebecca Solnit, author of several books of essays, many on the topic embracing uncertainty, wrote an essay about how she managed to get through the uncertainty of the pandemic by reading fairy tales to others. She proposes, with a fairy tale, we all know how the story ends, but what keeps us intrigued is the impossible task a character has to complete in order to get to the end. We don't know how that straw is going to be turned into gold. We don't know the task and how it will be done or the problem solved, so by engaging in that place of uncertainty and watching it unravel, it provides a sense of hope, a sense of possibility, a sense of security that we too will figure out a way out of whatever unknown place we are in. She writes, "Hope is that recognition and a commitment to the pursuit of the better possibilities within the spaciousness of the unknown, the not yet created." Some of you may know this about me, but I don't think it's widely known. I'm a voracious reader. I've actually read, and I'm a little proud of this, but I'm also kind of like, ugh. I've read 35 books since the beginning of January. A couple were for a book group, some were for work, majority were just fiction. I love getting invested in the characters and the stories. I love to encounter the new twists in a plot that I haven't encountered before. And nothing makes me more angry than a book ending on a cliffhanger without that next book coming out. That I have to wait for a beloved character and to know how they're going to end up. I have not written an author yet to let them know about my wrath, but my family definitely knows it. We've all been in this place, whether it be fictional or not, this place of uncertainty, of unknown, of ambiguity. It's wrought with emotions, especially when it's not fictional. They impact the very real lives of the people we love, our own lives, our communities. And we have heard over and over and over the refrain this past year, in these uncertain times. How many times have we heard that? So many times. Which in my mind has added a level of foreboding to everything I do. And as our reading suggested, we have turned into a society that seeks security in the certainty of things, when in actuality, we live in a world that is constantly changing and unpredictable. I love the way Rebecca Solnit rephrases uncertainty. She proclaims, in the spaciousness of uncertainty, there is room to act. In the spaciousness of uncertainty, there is room to act. When we embrace uncertainty with this lens, there is so much hope and possibility for us to embrace. And it is proven again and again throughout history that in many times of uncertainty, awesome and wonderful things have happened. Howard Zinn, a preeminent historian, writes, "There is a tendency to think that what we see in the present movement will continue. We forget how often we have been astonished by the sudden crumbling of institutions, by the extraordinary changes in people's thoughts, by unexpected eruptions of rebellions against tyrannies, by the quick collapse of systems of power that seem invincible. What leaps out from history of the past 100 years is its utter unpredictability." So I want you to think and take a moment to reflect on your lifetime and what is an event that you could have not predicted would happen, and when it did, it opened up a new possibility. I think of being in high school in a history class, and my teacher at the time put me up for this scholarship to go to Washington, D.C. And the big question in society then was, how were we going to end the Cold War? And these teenagers, I was one of them, got together and we tried and tried to solve the Cold War. We had no power, but we tried. We were talking about it. We were throwing out ideas. And within a couple years, the Berlin Wall collapsed, which then changed the course of that Cold War, of those regimes, the collapse of the UUSR at the time. So what happened in your lifetime with a similar impact? This is one of those moments I'm going to invite you to talk to each other. If you're in the room, you can turn to talk to somebody and share. If you would rather contemplate on your own and not talk to another person, then you have the agency to do that. And online, if you would like to talk in the chat, you can do that as well. I invite you to turn to one another. Okay, let us come back together. Or take 1 minute to wrap up, I guess. Welcome back. Welcome back from those events. Now, I'm sure many of you think that those events you share may have felt like they happened overnight or quite suddenly and caused a ripple of uncertainty to impact societies or lives. But what we know is those events were the ending in a long story of narratives, plot twists that were developed through conversations, actions, and hard work. Rebecca Solnit reminds us of this when she writes, "Early in this country's history, John Adams wrote to Thomas Jefferson that the War of Independence from the British throne was not the Revolution. The Revolution was in the minds of the people, and this was effected from 1760 to 1775, before a drop of blood was shed at Lexington." Solnit continues, "It's an assertion that the crucial change came through culture, through beliefs and values, that the most important territory to take is in the imagination. Once you create a new idea of what is possible and acceptable, the seeds are planted. Once it becomes what a majority believes, you've created the conditions in which winning happens. It may be the least tangible, but most important part of a campaign." She concludes, "Ideas are powerful and dangerous, as their enemies know, and everyone else forgets." So what would happen if instead of a sense of foreboding, when we say the phrase "in these uncertain times," we feel a sense of curiosity, a sense of possibility, a sense of spaciousness? What if we leaned into cultivating our imaginations of what could be? How many of you have been in a brainstorming session? Good. I love it when there's a statement at the beginning of the session that we're not considering whether these ideas are plausible or not. We're just generating ideas. It's really hard for a lot of us to stay in that space. I think the one session that sticks out in my mind the most, which truly embraced the sense of possibility, was when I served a congregation up in Washington State, and we were in the process of thinking about what we would want in a new building. We wanted to make sure we included all ages, and so we had a brainstorming with our children and youth. By the end of that brainstorming session, our building would have a water park, a roller coaster, a games room, an ice cream parlor, cotton candy stands, and so much more. They really dreamed. That's the type of imagination we need right now. That expansive, no holding back, outside the box thinking. It is in that place of delicious ambiguity that embraces the unknown and plays with it instead of fearing it. We don't need to get caught up in solutions or names or outcomes. Right now, we need to dream, to imagine, to tap into what is larger than us and share our ideas, no matter how preposterous they are. Because the way we cultivate curiosity and imagination, the more likely we are to find the solutions we need and a hope we can actually live into. So with that in mind, we're going to do a brainstorming session. I want you to think of something that's troubling you in these uncertain times. And maybe think of two, if you want to push it more. It could be about artificial intelligence. It could be about UUSF's budget. It could be about a personal issue you're struggling with. Take a moment and just brainstorm some possibilities of how it can be imagined differently. Don't try to decide whether the possibilities are plausible or not. Just imagine and be curious. When you're ready and so inclined, you can turn to each other and share. If you don't want to, you are welcome to just sit in the space and contemplate. And if you're online, you can use the chat. Feel free to turn. And feel free to think about it for a few minutes, too. Take a minute to wrap up. All right, let's come back together. I encourage you to use our coffee hour after service to continue the conversation. There's also some community discussions that we are hosting, and the first one is going to be this coming Wednesday, May 20th, in the Martin Luther King Jr. room at 6:30. It will be a discussion about artificial intelligence hosted by our intern, Mark Caswell, and our membership and young adult manager, Emma Wakeling. So they're just going to talk about it. It's just coming together and, again, having these kinds of conversations. We're not trying to do solutions. We're just having conversations about it. If there's topics that you have that you want us to have a community conversation, let Mark or Emma or I know, and we will pull it together. We also have our forum that does a fantastic job in having these conversations as well and generating these ideas. I hope nothing was solved, because that was not the point. You don't have homework to do, you just have discussions to have, okay? Audre Lorde said, "To refuse to participate in shaping of our future is to give it up. Do not be led, do not be misled into passivity, either by false security or by despair. Each of us must find our work to do and do it." Each of us is responsible for contributing to the brainstorming of our issues, of leaning into curiosity, for cultivating imagination, and for embracing delicious ambiguity. We do know we cannot do this alone, so we might as well have some fun while we do it. May it be so. May we make it so. Amen. Please rise and body our spirit for our closing hymn in our gray hymnal, number 338, "I Seek the Spirit of the Child."
I seek the spirit of a child who meets her naturally, a child who sings the world alive and greets the morning sun with glee. Children are real beyond all art. May I see joy's a gift to our heart. I seek the freedom of a child who loves instinctively, who lights our day with just a smile and shines that light on all we see. Children are real beyond all fears. May I see hope's a gift to our 80 years. I seek the wonder of a child who sees delightfully, now clouds in cloud, now golden sun, imaginations true and free. Children are real beyond all lies. May I see faith's a gift to our eyes.
Hello, my name is Dolores Perez Heilbrunn, and I'm co-chair of the Human Rights Working Group.
Hello, I'm Jeff Peckrell, also from the Human Rights Working Group and the Sunday Forum.
Human rights belong to everyone. There are no exceptions. Last Friday, May 15th, marked the 78th anniversary of the Nakba. Unitarian Universalist congregations across the United States were asked to bear witness by recognizing the Nakba this week. The Nakba, which means catastrophe in Arabic, refers to the mass displacement and disposition of Palestinians during the 1948 Arab-Israeli War. Before the Nakba, Palestine was a multi-ethnic and multicultural society. However, the conflict between Arabs and Jews intensified in the 1930s with the increase of Jewish immigration driven by persecution in Europe, and with the Zionist movement aiming to establish a Jewish state in Palestine. Between 700 and 800,000 people, Palestinians, were forcibly removed or fled from their cities and villages during the Nakba. Hundreds of towns were destroyed by Israeli forces. Displaced Palestinians were never allowed to return.
The General Assembly of the United Nations first recognized Nakba Day in 2023. In 2024, the UUA General Assembly affirmed our solidarity with Palestinians in an action of immediate witness. Forced removal is a war crime, a denial of human rights. Today, our U.S. tax dollars support the continued killing and forced removal of Palestinians in Palestine and their repression by apartheid laws and systems in Israel and the occupied territories. Unitarian Universalists affirm the values of pluralism, interdependence, generosity, equity, transformation, and justice. We are bound by love to bring these values to our world and make them a reality. If you would like to learn more about this topic, including how to support the Not My Tax Dollars campaign that tells our congresspersons not to do three things: no war on Iran, no weapons for Israel, ICE out of our communities, please visit the literature table after the service hosted by supporters of Unitarian Universalists for Justice in the Middle East. Thank you.
Good afternoon. As our hour of worship draws to a close, please consider joining in the rich programming of this congregation throughout the week. First, young adults age 18 to 39 who are here today, please, if you would like to join in our monthly young adult lunch, meet in the courtyard before you're able to find a local restaurant for lunch. Number two, we are now more than 90% to our pledge target for the coming year. Please help us push us over the top by submitting your pledge or resubmitting your pledge at a higher level. Three, we are very close to signing a lease with a new potential preschool that will operate in our church school during the week. That means that we actually, as many of you will recognize when you have someone new moving into a space, have some stuff that we need to take care of, get rid of, clean out. And so please join myself and other members of the congregation over the coming week in participating in some volunteer sessions. If you're interested, please see Reverend Laura. Thank you.
We will now extinguish our chalice. We extinguish our chalice, but not the curiosity that was lit here today. We will take it with us in the days ahead. Please rise in body or spirit to join hands. I will be up here extending my hands out to you for our benediction. Take a moment and just look around and see the people in the space with you. This is our brainstormers. This is our collection of brainstormers. Let us continue to take that spirit of stepping into delicious ambiguity and imagination and curiosity with us into the days ahead and into the years ahead and to the decades ahead. Amen.